Scorpio, something you set into motion quietly is beginning to return to you in a powerful way, and it is not an accident that you found this message today. A deeper, energetic shift has already started moving beneath the surface of your life. As May 15th and 16th approach, a sacred restoration begins to open around you. This is not luck, and it is not random timing. It is the result of a choice you made when no one else could see the emotional weight you were carrying. Tell me something honestly, Scorpio. Have you ever wondered whether the universe noticed the moments when you stayed true to yourself, even when it would have been easier to become cold or disconnected? Have you ever asked yourself if anyone truly understood the sacrifices you made just to protect your inner truth? If those thoughts feel familiar, then this message was meant to reach you, because the answer is yes. Every moment you walked away from emotional chaos, every time you chose healing instead of survival instincts, every quiet act of integrity was seen. The spiritual scales have already shifted. Scorpio, the unseen audit is complete, and your soul was never found lacking. The energy surrounding your life now carries one clear message: what you endured was not wasted. This return is beginning because you earned it through emotional honesty and alignment with who you truly are beneath the armor. Between May 15th and May 16th, you may start noticing subtle confirmations around you, perhaps through a message, an unexpected financial opening, money returning from the past, or simply a strange sense of relief moving through your body where tension used to live. Whatever form it takes, you will recognize it. Something inside you will soften, and the emotional pressure you have carried for so long will begin to loosen. And Scorpio, that feeling is your sign. Before we go any deeper into this message, I want to pause for a moment and genuinely thank you for being here. Your presence means more than you realize, and every comment, every like, and every subscription carries energy far beyond the screen itself. Your support helps keep these messages alive, and I want you to remember that you are deeply seen, appreciated, and guided through this season of transformation. So stay with me through this entire video, because what is unfolding here is more than a prediction. It is confirmation that something real is changing beneath the surface of your life. But before we continue, I want you to claim this energy openly in the comments below. Type, "I release the past and welcome what is meant for me." Let those words become your confirmation. Let them mark the moment you stop questioning whether you are ready to receive what has already been making its way toward you. Take a slow breath, Scorpio. We're just beginning. There are seasons in life when your actions carry more truth than anything you could ever explain out loud. Moments when nobody claps for you, nobody understands the weight of your choices, and still something greater keeps record of every quiet act of survival. You may have believed you were only trying to make it through the darkness one day at a time, but from a deeper spiritual perspective, those choices carried sacred weight far beyond what you could see. The world teaches people to measure value through status, money, recognition, and visible success. Yet the universe moves through a completely different kind of exchange, one where emotional honesty, restraint, forgiveness, and perseverance become forms of real wealth. Every time you chose integrity over temporary comfort, every moment you refused to betray your inner truth just to feel accepted, you added energy to an invisible spiritual reserve. Scorpio, none of those moments disappeared into silence. What others misunderstood as softness, your emotional depth, your ability to feel without becoming cruel, your refusal to strike back from pain, carried far more power than the world could recognize. In deeper spiritual spaces, energy speaks clearly, and nothing authentic is ever lost. Even the tears you hid while walking away from cycles that wounded your spirit were not signs of weakness. They became evidence of transformation, proof that something inside you was evolving instead of hardening. The soul measures wealth differently. Peace, emotional clarity, resilience, and self-trust are not inherited overnight or purchased through ambition. They are formed slowly through difficult seasons that ask you to become stronger without losing yourself. And now, as May 15th and 16th draw closer, you are entering a phase where those inner investments begin taking visible form. The spiritual accounting has already been completed, and the energy surrounding your life is beginning to shift accordingly. This is not the kind of reward the world gives to performance or ego. It is the kind of return that arrives when someone stays aligned with their deeper truth for long enough that the universe finally responds. When I speak about this energetic reckoning, I'm not talking about punishment or favoritism. I'm talking about the quiet recognition of consistency, the unseen awareness of every difficult decision you made when nobody else understood what it cost you emotionally. Imagine a silent keeper of records, watching carefully over the hidden chapters of your life. The moments you chose restraint instead of reaction. The times you offered understanding because you remembered your own wounds too clearly to become careless with someone else's pain. The situations you walked away from, even when part of you wanted to stay, because your spirit knew the cost would have been too high. That is how spiritual strength is built over time. And Scorpio, your path has never been simple, because people who carry deep emotional awareness often move through worlds that reward surface appearances more than truth. Still, you did not allow your pain to turn into bitterness. You did not abandon yourself just to gain temporary security or approval. You survived the darker seasons without letting them erase your humanity. And that is exactly why this next chapter feels so significant. This return is not only about money, it is about remembering your worth again. It reminds me of a quiet piece of wisdom that lives beyond religion and settles into everyday life. Do not grow tired of choosing what is right, because eventually, what you planted in silence begins to grow. You kept going, Scorpio, even when your compassion was misunderstood, even when nobody acknowledged your efforts. You continued carrying light through seasons that could have easily made you colder. And now that energy is multiplying. What is arriving in your life now is more than financial movement or temporary relief. It is confirmation that your soul never lost its direction, even during the hardest emotional chapters. The strength, patience, and healing you invested into yourself were never wasted. They were sacred. And now the release begins quietly, gently, and with a kind of peace that does not need to announce itself loudly to be real. So if something inside you has started shifting lately, trust it. Even the smallest emotional release matters. This is not your imagination creating false hope. It is what was buried, finally rising back into the light. It is the unseen becoming visible in ways you can finally feel. It is your spirit recognizing that the season of emotional survival is slowly giving way to something softer and more open. Some of the most important transformations begin almost invisibly. As May 15th and 16th approach, you may notice subtle changes that feel impossible to explain, yet deeply familiar to your soul. Maybe it appears through repeating numbers on a receipt, a message arriving unexpectedly, a forgotten payment returning, or simply a calmness settling into your chest where tension once lived. At first glance, these moments may appear small or easily overlooked, but they carry deeper meaning than you realize. They are subtle confirmations that the energy surrounding your life is beginning to shift because something inside you has already changed first. This is not random luck falling from the sky. It is a clean spiritual return, an energetic release shaped by deeper laws that respond to alignment, truth, and emotional integrity. The opening that begins around May 15th and 16th carries a different kind of energy. It does not arrive to shake your world apart or force you through another painful lesson. It arrives as a reflection of the person you have quietly become through every season you survived without abandoning yourself. Scorpio, This energy recognizes the version of you that protected your inner light, even while moving through emotional darkness. You made choices based on truth rather than temporary victory, and because of that, what is coming toward you now feels earned on a soul level. The opportunities, relief, and movement beginning to unfold are not accidental. They are the natural response to the emotional transformation you have already lived through. What returns to you now carries the same frequency you fought hard to protect within yourself. From an astrological perspective, the energy surrounding May 15th and 16th opens a powerful emotional threshold. Pluto's transformative influence blends with expansive currents that encourage release, renewal, and movement after long emotional stagnation. It creates the feeling of a spiritual gateway opening quietly beneath the surface, allowing abundance to move more freely toward those who are finally aligned with their deeper truth. This is more than symbolism on a chart. It feels like an energetic permission slip from the universe itself. And Scorpio, you are already stepping into that space. What makes this moment so meaningful is not only what arrives, but the way it arrives. The energy entering your life now does not carry the heaviness of manipulation, desperation, or emotional compromise. It feels cleaner than past cycles because it matches the version of you that has already released so much emotional weight. That is why your body may respond with calm instead of fear. Your nervous system recognizes the difference between survival energy and aligned energy, even before your mind fully understands it. This is what happens when divine timing meets emotional readiness. Grace rarely crashes into life all at once. More often, it slips in quietly, the way early morning light slowly reaches into a dark room and changes everything without needing permission. The abundance beginning to unfold around you now carries that same feeling. It is not loud or chaotic. It is the gentle unraveling of what your soul has been owed after seasons of carrying more than anyone realized. And the most important part is this: you do not need to force it into existence. You do not need to exhaust yourself trying to prove your worth anymore. You only need to remain open enough to receive what is already moving toward you. If you have ever wondered whether goodness truly returns, whether choosing integrity and silence ever mattered, let this become your answer. Let these shifts remind you of something your spirit has always known beneath the doubt. Energy never disappears. It moves in cycles, it expands, and eventually it finds its way back to the source that created it. So when that message arrives, when that sign appears, when that unexpected opening shows itself, pause long enough to recognize it. Let yourself breathe it in fully instead of dismissing it. Smile quietly and acknowledge the moment for what it is. This is what divine reciprocity feels like when it finally reaches you. It does not always arrive dramatically. Most of the time, it enters softly through confirmation, clarity, and quiet emotional relief. Your role now is not to chase what belongs to you, but to allow yourself to receive it without guilt or resistance. And when tarot reveals cards like the Hierophant, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and Six of Swords together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. These cards carry the energy of transformation, awakening, material renewal, and emotional transition. They appear when the soul is ready for more than guidance. They appear when confirmation is finally arriving. Scorpio, what this message is revealing is powerful. You are being moved out of emotional survival mode and into a season where restoration can finally take root in a stable and lasting way. The Hierophant speaks of inner truth and spiritual structure. While the world pushed people toward competition, performance, and constant proving, you chose emotional honesty, restraint, and alignment with your deeper values. You trusted your inner compass, even when it led you away from what looked easier on the surface. That was never weakness. It was the foundation of the person you were becoming. You became someone who carried integrity through difficult emotional terrain, and even when nobody else fully understood your path, the universe did. This card feels like a quiet acknowledgement from something greater than yourself. A reminder that the unseen tests you endured were real, sacred, and already witnessed. Then comes judgment, and this is the point where the energy begins to turn completely. This card carries a presence that is impossible for the soul to ignore. It feels like a spiritual awakening echoing through the deeper layers of your life, reminding you that your season of shrinking yourself is ending. Scorpio, this is not a moment to plead for recognition. It is a moment to rise into the truth of who you have already become. You are no longer standing in preparation, waiting for permission, or trying to prove your worth through survival. You are stepping into activation. What is unfolding around you now is not coincidence, and it is not emotional fantasy. It is your spirit responding to something it has quietly been preparing for through every difficult season you endured. The inner call has already reached you, and somewhere deep inside, you recognize it. The verdict has already been written energetically. The time has come to receive what your soul has been building toward all along. And this is where the Ace of Pentacles opens its hands. This card represents the physical expression of a promise that has been forming beneath the surface for much longer than you realize. It may appear through a financial opportunity, a contract, a new direction, a business idea, or simply the first visible step toward something stable and meaningful. But this energy goes beyond money alone. It is movement after stagnation. It is manifestation taking shape in the physical world. It is the return of your own energy in a form you can finally hold, touch, and experience directly. What makes this chapter feel different from past cycles is the foundation beneath it. This energy was not created through fear, desperation, or emotional emptiness. It was built through healing, self-awareness, and alignment with your deeper truth. That is why it feels cleaner. It does not carry the emotional residue of compromise or the heaviness of abandoning yourself to survive. This is abundance that arrives with clarity attached to it. It is aligned wealth, the kind that allows your nervous system to soften instead of preparing for loss. And then the Six of Swords enters gently, carrying one of the most healing messages in this entire spread. It reminds you that it is finally safe to breathe again. You are slowly leaving behind the inner landscape shaped by emotional exhaustion, confusion, and survival mode. This card is not about rushing toward the future. It is about emotional transition, about being carried toward calmer waters, even while part of you is still learning how to trust peace again. If life has felt quieter lately, slower, or emotionally unclear, it may be because you are standing between two versions of yourself. You are no longer fully connected to the old cycle, but you are still adjusting to what comes next. Even so, movement is happening. The waters ahead may not be perfect, but they no longer carry the same chaos you once had to survive. There is peace beginning to form where tension used to live. When I look at this message as a whole, I do not just see opportunity. I see a deeply guided transition unfolding at exactly the right moment. This feels like spiritual elevation, a movement away from waiting endlessly and into finally holding what once felt distant. Somewhere inside you, Scorpio, a part of you already sensed this season was coming long before your mind could explain it clearly. Maybe nobody around you understood what you were feeling. Maybe you could not fully put it into words yourself. But you stayed with your path anyway. You kept believing through seasons that could have easily convinced you to shut down emotionally. Let that become part of the reward too, not only what arrives externally, but who you became while learning how to survive without losing yourself. And if you have been searching for confirmation that it is safe to move forward now, let this message meet you there. This is not another punishment disguised as a lesson. It is a torch being placed gently into your hands. you are ready to carry it. When tarot reveals cards like the Hierophant, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and Six of Swords together, the message does not feel subtle. It arrives with clarity and purpose. These cards appear when the soul is ready for confirmation as much as guidance. Scorpio, what this energy is revealing is profound. You are being moved out of emotional survival and into a season where restoration can finally take stable form in your life. The Hierophant reminds you that true strength never came from controlling every outcome around you. Real power came from remaining aligned with deeper truth, even while the world rewarded performance, competition, and emotional disconnection. While others chased validation, you protected something more sacred inside yourself. That was never weakness. It was spiritual structure, quietly forming beneath the surface of your life. You became someone who carried integrity through emotionally difficult terrain, and even when nobody else fully recognized what it cost you, the universe did. This card feels like a quiet acknowledgement from something greater than yourself, a reminder that the tests you survived in silence were real, meaningful, and already witnessed. Then judgment rises once again, and with it comes the feeling that everything inside you is beginning to awaken differently now. This energy does not ask you to beg for your place anymore. It asks you to stand up and receive yourself fully. You are no longer preparing in the dark. You are entering activation. What is unfolding now is not random movement. It is your spirit recognizing the moment it has been training for, through every cycle of release and transformation. And as the Ace of Pentacles appears once more, the message becomes even clearer. What is returning to you now is tangible proof that your inner evolution is finally beginning to take material form. This may arrive through work, money, opportunity, stability, or the beginning of something capable of growing far beyond what you currently see. But beneath all of it is a deeper truth. This abundance was never built from emotional lack. It was built from healing, clarity, and the light you protected inside yourself even during the darkest seasons. And perhaps the gentlest message in this spread comes through the Six of Swords. This card carries the quiet reminder that it is finally safe for your spirit to soften. You are moving away from emotional exhaustion, confusion, and the constant pressure of survival. This transition is not about rushing forward. It is about relief, emotional healing, and allowing yourself to move toward calmer waters, even if you are still learning how to trust peace again. If life has felt slower or quieter lately, there is a reason for that. Scorpio, you are standing between emotional chapters, no longer fully tied to the pain you once carried, but still adjusting to a calmer version of yourself. Even so, movement is happening beneath the surface. The waters ahead may not be perfect, but they no longer carry the same chaos. When I look at these cards together, I see more than opportunity. I see a deeply guided transition unfolding at exactly the right time. This feels like a movement from emotional survival into stability, from endlessly hoping to finally being able to hold something real. Somewhere inside, you already sensed this chapter was approaching long before your outer world reflected it. Maybe you could not explain that feeling, and maybe nobody around you fully understood it either. But you stayed with yourself through all of it. You kept believing during seasons that could have easily closed your heart. And that matters more than you know. Let part of the reward be the person you became while learning how to survive without losing your truth. And if you have been waiting for a sign that it is safe to move forward, let this be it. But not every test arrives looking difficult. Sometimes it comes through familiar people, old emotions, or someone from the past whose energy once carried weight in your life. As abundance begins moving toward you, the universe is asking not only whether you are ready to receive more, but whether you are ready to protect what you have healed within yourself. Someone may reappear soon, perhaps an old friend, former partner, or a connection tied to an earlier version of your life. Their pain may be real, but what matters now is the clarity you carry inside yourself. You will feel the difference immediately, the pull toward emotional patterns you worked hard to outgrow. And in that moment, remember this: love does not require unlimited access. Forgiveness does not always require closeness, and helping someone should never come at the cost of abandoning yourself again. You are not meant to rescue everyone who returns once your energy begins to rise. That is not cruelty, Scorpio. That is alignment. Protecting your peace is now part of your spiritual responsibility. Life often places one final emotional threshold before a new chapter fully opens. Your answer will not come through words, but through your boundaries, your choices, and your willingness to protect the inner world you spent years rebuilding. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth or an apology for no longer surviving through self-sacrifice. And if guilt appears, remind yourself that protecting your energy is not selfish. It means you finally understand the value of what you have healed inside yourself. Many people escape painful cycles only to meet old patterns again in different forms. The breakthrough often arrives the moment they finally choose differently. You have already done the difficult inner work. What matters now is recognizing the difference between compassion and self-abandonment. Move through this season with clarity and self-respect, and what waits ahead will speak for itself. Scorpio, you were never meant to shrink yourself just to make others comfortable. You came here to become someone deeply aligned with your soul. As May 15th and 16th approach, you are being reminded not of who you might become someday, but of who you already are beneath the fear and emotional exhaustion. You carried light through dark seasons without allowing bitterness to define you. The spiritual balance surrounding your life has already shifted, and you were never seen as lacking. You were seen as ready. So if these days begin to feel lighter somehow, trust that feeling. If your thoughts quiet down or hope begins returning to places inside you that once felt emotionally numb, do not dismiss it. This is the energy of alignment finally meeting you after everything your soul has survived in silence. And what is arriving now is not random luck. It is proof that your integrity is beginning to take physical form in your life. So let me ask you honestly, Scorpio, are you ready to receive what already belongs to you? Are you willing to believe that the emotional strength and honesty you carried through difficult seasons created a return greater than external validation ever could? This is your moment to stop chasing and start receiving. Your role now is simply to move forward with peace, clarity, and trust in what is already unfolding around you. And if this message stirred something deep inside your spirit, speak it into existence. In the comments below, write, "I release the past and welcome what is meant for me." And type 555 if you are ready to leave survival mode behind and step fully into transformation. Thank you for spending this time and energy here with me. Every comment, every like, and every subscription helps these messages reach someone else who may still be searching for hope or confirmation. And maybe your presence becomes part of that confirmation for someone else too. So if this message settled deeply into your spirit, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more messages like this, and share it with someone who may need reassurance right now. Because Scorpio, May 15th and 16th, are not ordinary dates. They mark the beginning of a new emotional chapter your soul has been quietly preparing to enter.